Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is our week 2 recap. I cannot believe we're in our second week of school. If you missed last week's, go watch our first week of school recap so you kind of have an idea of how our homeschool flows, some of the things that I've changed for this week. And in case you're new here, hi, I'm Chelsea, a former teacher, now homeschool mom. This is my 5th year homeschooling. I have a 3rd and 4th grader. We are an eclectic homeschool family, so we do a lot of different things around here, and we are always trying different things out. So if you are a new homeschool mom and you are concerned because you don't have a clue what you're doing, just know that you are not alone because I am on year 5 and I still don't always know what I'm doing. I am constantly changing up what we're doing, how we're doing things. And that's why I started doing these weekly recaps where I talk about the highs and lows of every week, what things worked well, what things didn't work well, and what I'm changing for the next week. I also have a video all about our first day and our first week and how I like to start slow to go fast. So this week we are now in week 2 and I'm trying to add some more things in so we can get up to our full schedule, but we are still easing into our homeschool routine. Let's get into our highs and lows of the week. First up, our high of the week was by far the shark dissection. We hosted our neighbors and friends and had them over to dissect a shark, and it was so cool. Got a dogfish shark from Apologia and a dissection kit, and together we dissected the shark. We looked at the inside parts, the muscle, all the things, and it was so much fun. The kids had an absolute blast. And my low of the week was definitely yesterday when it took us forever to get our schoolwork done. Okay, so listen, we have a homeschool room and I do all of our family style learning in the homeschool room. But I let my kids have the freedom to do their independent work wherever they want. And so yesterday they chose the living room, dining room, kitchen area to do their schoolwork in. No. Nope, that freedom is being revoked because it took almost 5 hours to do the things that normally take us like 2.5 hours to do because everything was a distraction. And when you're a homeschool mom, you know that just limiting the distractions is a huge help. I just want to be done with our schoolwork. Yes, I know that learning happens all day. You don't need to come at me for that. I understand. But when it comes to our schoolwork, like the workbooks, lessons, I just want to get that done. So I don't want it to drag out the whole day. I want to sit down, finish it, and then move on. And so that really was my low for the day, which also leads me into a change that I'm going to be making. We're going to be staying in the homeschool room until our work is finished. Okay? That might not be something that you want to do in your homeschool, and that's fine. But for me and my homeschool, that's what we be doing because I'm not doing another 5-hour school day when it could take us 2 hours. This week was also not a normal week for us. So last week we went on vacation to the World Equestrian Center. So we took Monday as a ease back into it day. Post vacation, everybody was tired. I did not plan our whiteboard. I actually planned nothing. So Monday was try to get back into the swing of things with our independent work. They did some math and some language arts. And then it also started IXL diagnostic this week. I just want to do that to get a feel for where my kids are, where the gaps are, what we need to work on. So I had them do that on Monday. Tuesday, we jumped back into it. Wednesday was our farm school day. Super fun, but it was 107 degrees. So they came back real tired and antsy and all over the place on Wednesday. So we did something, wasn't super productive. Thursday took forever, and I was not a fan of that, but we got it done. And then today was another day of just getting things done. Like I said, I like to ease back into our homeschool rhythm. So we started the first week with math and reading. This week I added grammar. No, I actually think I only did it 2 days, so that was really easing into it, but that's okay. We will pick up with grammar next week, and then I'm also going to add spelling in next week. Now, I don't do a spelling curriculum. I kind of go based on what I'm seeing my kids making common mistakes with. So I am looking at everything that they're writing, and for some reason, we are still messing up our vowel teams, so I'm going to use that as our spelling week next week. So you'll start to see a spelling list on my whiteboard, and that is just, hey, they're making these mistakes, and so I want to catch them. I want to work on it, and I want to really hone in on that. Although I don't use a curriculum for that, I do use a resource. There is a girl on Instagram, her name's Alana, and she does the Orton-Gillingham method, and she created a whole Orton-Gillingham manual. I'm going to tag her in the video description and the manual in there. I use her manual to do word lists, to go through the scope and sequence of those letter sounds and make sure that we're hitting those. So I use that resource for spelling. I also used that when I was teaching my daughter to read. If you are in the early ages and really need a great resource for teaching your child to read, I highly, highly recommend it. It made all the difference for teaching my daughter how to read. And I still use that now to review spelling concepts. And it's how I'm finding those word lists and putting together our spelling list every week. Another thing I'm changing for next week is our start time. Well, not really our family start time, but the kids' start time. So we start our school day every day at 10 o'clock, and that's when we gather around the whiteboard. We do that together, and then we'll do our family style subjects, which is our flora study, which we haven't started yet, and math. And then they would go and do their independent subjects. But I'm trying to get them to start their independent subjects at 9 o'clock. So from 9 to 10, they work by themselves. At 10, we come together, do our family subjects. And then if they need any help with any of that independent work, that would be the time that we do it. And I'm trying that because next month we have some extracurriculars that are starting that are going to interrupt the middle of our school day. And so I don't want to wait until the afternoon to do everything. I just know my kids and their attention is not there. So I am trying to get them to do something in the morning. One of them is an early waker and is awake at like 7 o'clock every day, so she shouldn't have a problem with getting started at 9. The other one sometimes is waking up at 7:30, sometimes is waking up at 10:30. So he's going to be a trickier one, but he's also not the one that I'm super worried about, and he's also not the one that has the extracurriculars in the afternoon. So that I'm not so worried about, but my oldest, she also has ADHD, so I'm trying to get her to start early because the longer we wait, the more time she has to play. It's just so much harder for her brain to get in school mode. So I'm trying that out. We'll see. As of right now, we've done it twice this week, and they've hated every single second of it. But I'm hoping that if it becomes a normal thing, that it won't be so bad. Because they also hated our 10 o'clock start time when I started that, but now it's just like, hey, this is what we do. So that is something else I'm trying next week. Overall, we had a pretty good week. I mean, we had our trials like every week. We've had the annoying thing of the 5-hour school day, but overall, I can't really complain. I think it went pretty smoothly, especially for the second week of school. So going into next week, I am adding spelling in, and then I'm also going to try to get them to do their independent studies at 9 o'clock. I'll keep you updated. That is my week. Tell me, how was your week? Have you started? What are you doing? Tell me in the comments. And if this is the kind of stuff that you like, I am going to start sharing our weekly recaps just so you can feel not alone. We can do this thing together. And I kind of want a way to look back on our school year because I can often point out the bad things that happened or what didn't go well. And I want to remind myself that a lot of good did happen and my kids are making a lot of progress. So I thought this is a great way to do it. And then I get to look back, and then you can also join our homeschool. You can feel encouraged. You can get some ideas. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. If you want to watch our weekly recaps, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss them. And then also remember that every Sunday we do a homeschool after hours where my husband and I talk about all things outside of homeschooling, marriage, parenting, family life, running businesses, all of those things. They're really funny, and I love to hear Logan's perspective because he is not the homeschool parent but is along for the ride, so it's fun to learn from him as well. And then every Wednesday a new homeschool video goes live. Sometimes it's a curriculum review, book hauls, my whiteboard setup, or just different tips and tricks of how I'm using different things. So make sure you're subscribed and tell me what would be helpful for you to see in that Wednesday content.